Make this a shawl so she don't think I got a blanket. Hi, my name is Lori, and today I'll be doing your counseling section. So, can you give me a little bit of background about what brings you in today?
So, as of recently, I have been feeling very down about my love life and the person that I'm dealing with.
Okay. Can you give me a little bit more detail?
So, as of recently, I just got a message that made me feel so disrespected. And I had blocked him, but and now I'm getting more reaching out. Like, he wants to talk, but I feel like there's nothing to talk about. Like, me personally, normally when I block somebody, I be done. I be done,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't be wanting to talk to them ever again. But he thinks that I'm playing and I'm blocking him, and then it's gonna be a back and forth. But once I'm done, it's done. So right now, there's no talking to be had, in my opinion. But he wants to have this talk to resolve what, I don't know, and I'm confused on what's gonna happen after this talk.
Right. So, right now it's sounding like you have made peace with the fact that the relationship is pretty much over, but now he's throwing a curveball at you.
Yes, and it's trying to open that back up.
Mm-hmm.
But like in my opinion, I feel like I don't want to open that back up because he's so disrespectful. Like the only reason I would want to talk to him is so I could get an apology for all the disrespect.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, your feelings are valid, and I just want you to know that however you're feeling about the situation is okay. Um, so, can you give me a little more detail about the duration of this
So
confusion?
I'll start from the beginning. So we started talking a year ago,
Okay.
and it started off on bad terms, on a bad note. We were kind of secretive about it. Nobody really knew. Then everybody started knowing. But during that time, it was quote unquote the honeymoon stages, so it was cool. And then the disrespect just started coming through slowly. Like, he doesn't really care what he says to me or if it hurts my feelings. But then when it does become something serious of me needing somebody, he is there. So it's kind of like a toxic one too. Like, he doesn't want to. He's disrespectful, but when it's something serious, he'll want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's just been going on and on. And just recently, I blocked him because he sent me a very disrespectful message, and I blocked him and I was just crying for the whole day, but I wasn't necessarily crying because I didn't want to talk to him anymore. I was more crying because I sat there and dealt with all that disrespect for no reason, and then I was just kind of over it, and that's why I'm just kind of at the stage of over it. Because normally, if I block somebody, I'm sitting there dwelling on them, I'm unblocking them, blocking them, unblocking them, blocking them. But I've been cool. I've been laying in the bed by myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't been calling them, haven't been texting. I've been cool. So I don't necessarily want to sit there and talk, but at the same time, I feel like apology or something needs to be said because we're in the same friend group. I'm still gonna see them almost every day because I see my friends every day. So I don't really know what to do.
Okay, so there's a few things that I want to touch on that you said.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that you guys are in the same friend group.
Mm-hmm.
How has that made you feel seeing him after the breakup?
Mm, honestly, at first, the first day, the day after, I was actually slap mad, and I wanted to beat him up when I first seen him
Okay.
because it was also on like a quote unquote back door because my friend, I went over there to hang out with my friend. My friend didn't tell me that he was coming, and out of nowhere, he just walks through the door and just ignores me.
Mm-hmm.
But I stayed cool. I didn't say nothing. I sat there and hung out and I left. And then that was just the end of that. But just seeing him yesterday in a friend group, I was okay. I was cool. I know how to keep my emotions in now because it used to be bad, but I was cool and I was able to sit around him and talk around him and not to him. So that's that aspect. I think I'm okay with it.
So the first interaction kind of sounds like you were blindsided, but you kept your composure.
Mm-hmm.
Did that take a lot out of you?
Yes, actually,
Mm-hmm.
because that's actually the quite opposite of how I am. I'm more of a I'm gonna do something to you. I'm loud. I do things like that. But I think I'm more tired
Mm-hmm.
of the back and forth or just drained from that whole situation. So I don't even feel like arguing and doing all that.
Well, to me, it sounds like a lot of personal growth and a lot of development on your behalf, given the fact that you say you, quote unquote, used to be a crash out.
Mm-hmm.
So, good job on controlling yourself.
Thank you.
Now, another thing that I wanted to touch on was the disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sounding like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's sounding like you guys started off as friends and then it became deeper.
Yeah.
So around what time do you think the disrespect started?
I don't necessarily have a time frame of when the disrespect started, but the it started with how we met. Kind of like we were just nobody really knew what we had going on, just us two. In my head, nobody really knew what we had going on, just us two. But it started like that, just disrespecting, like, oh, you're not my girl, so I could do whatever. Like, even though I know that,
Mm-hmm.
it might not seem disrespectful in his head, but it's disrespectful to me because you don't have to keep reminding me
Right.
that I'm not your girlfriend. And then after that, I think I was acting too nonchalant because I do have that really bad where I act like things don't bother me
Mm-hmm.
when they really do. So me doing that, I think it opened the door for him to keep going and being more disrespectful down the line. And then it just progressively got more into it to where we started actually arguing and fighting and stuff. And I don't necessarily know why I even dealt with it, but I think I was just bored.
Yeah. And boredom can lead you to a lot of different things,
Yeah.
you know. So touching on the boundary aspect, when do you or how would you say that how would you say implementing boundaries has negatively or positively impacted the relationship?
I feel like I did set a boundary on talking about my personal life, and it
Mm-hmm.
kind of positively um helped the relationship because that's the only thing I had a problem with was talking about my financial situation. And now my financial situation isn't negative; it's actually very positive. But some people look at that as being spoiled or being spoiled. So it kind of that was always the thing, like, oh, you don't have to work for nothing, you don't have a mind of your own because your parents do everything. And I kind of had to set a boundary to like tell him like I don't really like when you say that because
Mm-hmm.
I am very independent. And I think me actually telling him that kind of stopped him from saying those disrespectful terms and on that topic. And I feel like I probably should have set boundaries on everything else, but that's what was more that was bothering me. The spoiled and not
Mm-hmm.
saying I'm independent because I am a very independent person.
So that was a big moment for you to set that boundary of, hey, we're not going to talk about financials.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about other things, but this,
This was just not one of those. Yeah.
right. And did you feel proud of yourself?
I did actually
Mm-hmm.
because he's one of those people where he likes to say, "Oh, you're not gonna change me. I am what I am. It's either get used to it or get lost." And that was on one of the things I was able to have him change his mindset on people who are in a wealthy home or not in a low income home.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was proud about that.
Now that we're touching on the financial aspect of the relationship, do you feel as if, well, correct me if I'm wrong, I heard you say um, you are well or secure in your financial situation,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't seem like he comes from the same place,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you feel as if that could have put a strain on your relationship, or
No, I
it was
feel
more so
like
just a issue at hand?
I think it was just the issue. I feel like financials wasn't really the downfall of the relationship because
Okay.
he works for himself. He makes his own money.
Hmm.
So, not saying that it's nothing. It's something because he actually he's has his own car, has his own house, so he's doing well for himself. I just think the whole aspect of my parents doing it for me was his issue, but that never really became a problem between us two because at the end of the day, he was able to do or pay for what he needed to pay for. I was able to do the same. So that never really became an issue of like, oh, I need something and you're not helping me. Because we each had our own.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's fast forward back to today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I heard you mention when we first started the session that he recently just texted your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did that seem like he was trying to reconnect or trying to get closure?
I'm not even really sure.
Okay.
Because all he said was, we need to talk. And there's no telling. It could be positive, it can be negative, but I think I'm prepared for either or to just say whatever to it because even if it's positive, I'm not about to go spend the night right after that because it's gonna be like, okay, now what? And then even if it's negative, I'm gonna be back at my home or be in my home where I already was comfortable in. So I really don't know.
Okay. So it's sounding like he left you on a cliffhanger
Hmm.
with just unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And is this behavior typical for him?
Oh yeah. Very, very much so.
And how does that make you feel?
Very irritable
Hmm.
because I'm a very low not low maintenance, but I don't like no drama when it comes to my name and
Hmm.
everything. And it feels like since I've talked to him, it's been nothing but drama, and that's not me at all. Wait, what was the question? Wait.
How has this confusion made you feel?
Oh yeah, irritable.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I don't like that. I don't like having to sit here and be on edge all day trying to figure out what you're talking about for it to be something stupid. Because it's just like my heart's racing for what.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Now, while you were answering that question, I heard you talk or touch on something pertaining to this being new for you.
Hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about your past relationships and how this varies from, or how this relationship varies from the past?
I think the past relationship varies because even though me and my ex had our issues, I knew at the end of the day he loved me. With him, I don't necessarily know if he loves me or not. Because I know if I get into it with my ex and we're into it, I know at the end of the day he's gonna sit there, I love you.
Right.
And we're gonna go lay down and we're gonna fix it. With him, we get into it, I'm gonna go home, he gonna go home and that'll be that. And there's no security
Mm.
like how it was with my past relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Mhm.
it's sounding like, well, your feelings are valid, but it's sounding like you're not secure in this.
No, I'm just kind of here
Right.
with it. And starting off, I knew that's what it was, but I think I was getting slight played into thinking that it's more than something. And then when I started thinking that, he got scared,
Mm-hmm.
so he wanted me to back off. But then it's now realizing like, oh, I probably should never done that. She not really messing with me for real. So for me, I'm definitely not secure how I was secure with my past relationship.
Right. And that kind of ties into the same feelings that you're feeling right now in this moment with the uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
because all along it sounds like you felt uncertain about the status of it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, when it seemed like it's at the end, you're still in that uncertain.
Yeah.
Right. So, how do you think it'll benefit you to move forward? Which, let's rephrase that. Which outcome of the conversation that's seemingly about to be happening shortly, I'm not sure,
Mm-hmm.
um, which outcome do you think suits you best? Rekindling it or just being done with him?
Um, I don't know, cause it was a nice friendship relationship to sit there and hang out and talk to, but it was not healthy for my well being.
Right.
Um, I think at the point of now, if we were to be quote unquote rekindle, it would not be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he was to sit here and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry for this, this, and this, and this," like I said, I probably would not go over there right now and go spend the night. I probably wouldn't do it tomorrow or the day after. We'll be fine. We'll be friends. I feel like I could talk to him, but I feel like I just kind of went. I went 3 days without to no call, no text, barely seeing you. So now I kind of feel like I could just continue on not doing that,
Right.
whether we're cool or not.
So that leads me to wonder, how valuable or beneficial was this friendship to begin with?
Um, at the beginning, I feel like it was very valuable. Still to this day, probably not probably. It's valuable because I definitely told him a lot that I didn't tell other people,
Right.
but valuable to the point where it I'm okay with having my headspace all over the place because I'm not sure if somebody like me or not. No,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'm just kind of on both sides with everything. No clear one two.
Which is understandable. Um, but now my question is, how do we move forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which steps do we take to either mend the friendship that there once was, or do we just end it all?
I think I'm at the point of ending it all, but still open to being friends. Ending the spending the night and doing all that,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still open to be cool where I can probably still hang out with just me and him,
Mm-hmm.
but not to the point where I'm spending the night and doing all the extra stuff that I was doing and being intimate with him. Because I feel like if you don't if you don't necessarily like me or we were able to go 3 days without talking to each other and it was just nothing to you, then it doesn't need to be nothing else after that.
Okay. Well, to sum up everything that I heard from today, it sounds like you had a friend and the friendship developed into something a little bit more deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And along the lines or along the timeline, there were boundaries crossed,
Mm-hmm.
um, vulnerable moments, fights, arguments, everything that happens in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
just without the title.
Yeah.
And now, and that left you with some confusion. And now you kind of ended the relationship, but now he's trying to open that door back and who knows what, right?
Yeah.
For what, right? So, but it sounds like you made up your mind
Mm-hmm.
about what to do moving forward because that was a good friendship that you valued. And I think the best bet is to just hold on to the friendship.
Yeah. I think so too. But cancel out the intimacy part.
Right.
Yeah.